Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about the first official MLB All-Star Game exhibition game on July 6, 1933. Was held at Comiskey Park and was part of the 1933 Chicago World's Fair during the city's centennial. The 1933 MLB All-Star Game was the idea of Arch Ward, the sports editor of the Chicago Tribune, after the mayor of Chicago, Edward J. Kelly, had first approached the Tribune's publisher for a major sports event. The game was intended to be a one-time event to boost morale during the Great Depression. Ward decided that the fans would select the starting 9 players and the other 9 players, for each of the NL and the AL All-Star Game. The Tribune called it the Game of the Century, and 55 newspapers across the country printed the fans' ballots on their papers. The Tribune estimated the game's attendance on July 6, 1933 at 49,000. Proceeds, $45,000 net gate receipts from the game went to a charity for disabled and needy Major League players. The All-Star Game would afterwards be known as the MLB Midsummer Classic. The legendary Babe Ruth of the Yankees highlighted the game by hitting a 2-run home run to right field in the bottom of the 3rd inning and catching a fly ball up against the scoreboard in right center field in the top of the 8th inning. Ruth was greeted at home plate by the AL Chicago White Sox bat boy John McBride and teammate Lou Gehrig. 20 of the game's 36 All-Stars, including Ruth, would later be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, New York. Both the game's managers, 5 out of 6 coaches, and 2 out of the 4 umpires on the field that day would also be future Hall of Famers. 2 All-Stars were White Sox players starting third baseman Jimmy Dykes and starting center fielder Al Simmons. Yankee Lefty Gomez was the winning pitcher for the American League. The National League team wore specially made gray uniforms and navy blue caps with National League and navy blue felt letters on the front of the jersey, a large navy blue felt number on the back, and National League in white letters printed on the navy caps. The American League team members each wore their home uniform. The National League members were allowed to keep their All-Star uniforms and caps. In 1934, each National League member used their home uniform and cap, so they switched to next year. The game's official AL baseball was changed to an official National League baseball, and the American League home plate umpire was replaced by a National League home plate umpire after the top of the 5th inning. 60 baseballs autographed by All-Star players were given out before the game started. The rosters were for the National League. The starters were pitcher Bill Hallahan from the Cardinals, catcher Jimmy Wilson of the Cardinals. First base was Bill Terry of the Giants. Second base was Frank Frisch, Frisch, of the Cardinals. Third baseman was Pepper Martin of the Cardinals. Shortstop was Dick Bartell of the Phillies. Left field was Chuck Haley of the Reds. Center field was Wally Berger of the Braves. Right field was Chuck Klein of the Phillies. Reserve pitchers were Carl Hubble of the Giants, Al Schumacher of the Giants, and Lon Winnica of the Cubs. Reserve players were catcher Gabby Hartnell of the Cubs, second baseman Tony Guccinello of the Dodgers, third baseman Pie Traynor of the Pirates, shortstop Woody English of the Cubs. Outfielders were Lefty Oldue of the Giants and Paul Warner of the Pirates. The coaches were John McGraw was the manager, Bill McKinney of the Braves, and Max Carey of the Dodgers. For the American League, starting pitcher was Lefty Gomez. Catcher was Rick Farrell of the Red Sox. Of course, Gomez was the Yankees, First baseman was Lou Gehrig of the Yankees. Second baseman, Charlie Gehringer of the Tigers. Third baseman Jimmy Dykes of the White Sox. Shortstop Joe Cronin of the Senators. Left field was Ben Chapman of the Yankees. Center field was Al Simmons of the White Sox. Right field was Babe Ruth of the Yankees. The reserve pitchers were General Crowder of the Senators, Wes Farrell of the Indians, Lefty Grove of the Athletics, Oral Hildebrand of the Indians. And the reserve fielders, catcher Bill Dickey of the Yankees, first baseman Jimmy Fox of the Athletics, second baseman Tony Lazzeri of the Yankees, outfielder Earl Averill of the Indians, outfielder Sam West of the Browns. And their coaches were the manager was Connie Mack of the Athletics, Eddie Collins of the Red Sox, and Art Fisher of the Yankees. American League scored a run in the bottom of the second, two in the bottom of the third. National League with two in the top of the sixth. American League one in the bottom of the sixth. The final line on that was 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the National League. 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the American League. So there you have it. That's the very first MLB All-Star game. It was just supposed to be a one-off exhibition match. And look what it's turned into now, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you had a great July 4th. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, great night, whatever the case may be.